Alright guys, welcome to the video. I haven't seen a video of anybody changing the rear tire on an Emove Touring before, so I figured I'd be the one to make it, hopefully help somebody out. Right here we're starting by removing the rear fender. It's a good idea to have a little magnet, keep your screws organized. We're using an adjustable wrench to remove the rear axle nuts. Remove the washer and the lock washer. Remove the lock washer from the other side. Those are used to prevent the axle from spinning and damaging your motor cable. Now remove the brake line adjustment screw. Pull that cable out. You notice that the motor is staying in place. It's because the brake drum assembly is holding it on. So use a 10mm socket on this nut here. There's also an Allen bolt here. Once that comes out, the whole assembly will kind of just fall apart. Just wiggle it out of there. Be careful not to put a strain on your motor cable. Alright, we got the little workstation set up. Now you're going to want to use a good quality set of Allen keys. I think these are M3 hex bolts. You don't want to strip these out. Some of these were actually looser than I expected, so I'm glad that I went ahead and did this replacement. Alright, once you get all of those removed, you're going to want to take one of your axle nuts, use something to protect it. You're going to put that on the motor cable side, not the other side. Give it a few whacks with a hammer. Rubber mallet would be better, but that's all I had. And the opposite side should come off. You're going to need to get something to protect your floor. And once you start pressing on the tire, you can separate the tire from the motor assembly. There we go, tire is separated. This is a 200 by 50 tire. I was running to get the other tire, sorry. Here's a 200 by 60 tire that I wanted to replace it with. It's a little bit wider, as you can see. Should give you a little bit more comfort, a little bit more stability. Looks a little bit better too, looks a little beefier, you know. Alright, the next thing you're going to want to do is put your tire in boiling hot water for a good few minutes, otherwise this is going to be impossible. Alright, once you get your water and your tire nice and hot, boiling, it can't be under boiling, it's got to be boiling. Get a nice pair of gloves to protect your hands and place your old tire underneath your new tire with the motor assembly on top and start trying to push it down to seat the tire. Don't try to use any, lubrication. You really need to get a couple of tire levers in there to try and stretch the bead of the tire around the motor. It's quite hard. I spent a lot longer than what you'll see in the video trying to get this done. So as you can see, I got the tire mostly around the motor. I gave it some good pushes once I got the tire stretched around, but still it's not even close to being done. You have to try and push that motor as deep into the tire as you can. You can see that there's still a gap between the motor and the edge of the tire, and the screws that hold the other side on will not reach unless it is fully seated. Even trying to stand on it didn't quite get it enough. It helped, but it's not quite there. Alright, I threw this clip into the video, but I wanted you to know that these little screws that hold the housing together will not reach unless you take a C-clamp and a couple pieces of wood or rubber and you compress the housing back together. I didn't record that part because I was frustrated. So just keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to press these two halves together enough to get those screws to reach. You have to use a C-clamp. A couple pieces of wood, go around the edges and just compress the motor housing together, and then your little screws will reach. And even after doing that, you're going to be tightening in a star pattern probably for a good 5 minutes as the two halves of the motor fully seat into the tire. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video helps somebody. I have done a couple of test rides on the new tire. It is more comfortable, it is more stable, and it does look better. Thanks.